Okay, so we talked about the framework that like SDLC, STLC, okay, bug life cycle, and all this methodology. Those are all kind of framework. Nothing to do with software. Nothing to do with it's a process. Flow from the management perspective. And okay, so we talked about this, and we talked also about documents, like what are the various documents we supposed to look at it before starting our work. So all those things. Okay, so that was so today we'll go in detail about agile methodology. Okay, so this is still a methodology like in SDLC, but this is something it's kind of different from SDLC. So far we have talked about the SDLC, right? Software development lifecycle. This is completely a different approach for SDLC. Okay, it's not really in SDLC, but a different perspective of methodology. The reason why we use agile because so that's what I told you, right? In that class that when you want the cost is more important than quality. Okay, so when you're looking at the cost and it's 6 months project, right? 6 months project, you are making in 1 month and boom, that's it. So that's how where you want to see, right? You want to make sure you don't want to spend more time on unproductive work. So let's see here. So we'll talk. So agile, what is agile? Agile is an iterative and incremental process. Okay, agile is an iterative and incremental process. So again, it's a methodology. No software, no. Some people, like previous batch, they were saying like, hey, SDLC, can you give access to SDLC? Now that is not something that is access or something. It's a framework again. Okay, so it's nothing to do with software, nothing to do with it's a process. So similar here in Agile 2, it's a framework, completely different methodology. Okay, different from different from SDLC, different from waterfall, different from spiral. It's all this different. This is a new approach. Okay, it's a different approach. So as I told you, Agile consists of various sub-levels. Okay, they have like Scrum. Okay, there is a Scrum. There is a extreme programming. There is also R&D, rapid application development, and there is a Kanban. So all these, it's not necessary that you will be using all this in one project, but it's good to know. Look, okay, it's not necessary you will be using all this in one project. You might use in some Kanban, you might use some Scrum, you might use some extreme programming, you might use some R&D, rapid application development. So it's kind of, subdivisions in Agile, okay. So if you say somebody say Agile, so you don't know exactly how they work in Agile, okay. Okay, so here today we'll discuss more on Scrum, okay. What is Scrum? Again, Scrum is it's an iterative and incremental process. Normally, team, right? Scrum in sense whenever it says Scrum means it's a team. In layman language, Scrum we call as team. But again, it's a framework. It's also a framework in software development. Okay, so this has a lot of Scrum is kind of a ceremonial kind of thing. A lot of people gathering, a lot of things happen. Okay, so that's how. Let's start with terminology here. Okay, we'll go start with terminology. Okay, so it's back. Okay, so let's talk about this terminology. Okay, so here a terminology is completely different from waterfall methodology. Okay, so here what we have here is here we call Scrum Master. In waterfall methodology, we call as project manager. Here we call as in agile, we call as scrum master. Same guy, I mean the same job, different terminology. Okay, the same job. What the project manager, but here the thing in agile, scrum master is given the more priority than manager. In waterfall, manager was taking care of all the things. Now no more. Now Scrum Master is actually takes care of the project and see how the project is going on and all those things. Okay, he's will be responsible to solving an issue. So Scrum Master in Agile is called Project Manager in Waterfall. Okay, not just Waterfall, any SDLC methodology. Okay, let's go to the next. Then there is a business analyst. Business analyst in SDLC, you call here is product owner. Okay, different term, right? Different term. The same guy, the same job actually. Okay, so that's the thing. And development, of course, there's a development guy. There's a tester. See here, you don't find many testers here because see here in agile they try to eliminate testers, so it's not possible, right? They what they want to do in agile is right. They want to make developers to do the test. Now, why not developer do the testing? So that's not really a good idea to do this. Why? Because whenever a developer tests an application, it tests a business perspective, and whenever testers test an application, it tests a user perspective. Right? Does it make sense? So that's the reason you cannot eliminate testers, completely just like that. This might be a question from your boss. Okay, your boss might tell you, "Hey, we don't need any testers. We know why don't developers do the testing?" And developers, they will not say anything. Yeah, we can do testing. Okay, so they will be end up like this. But you need to, convince your boss saying that what, we cannot afford this to do with the development perspective, because development, the developer does its job on a business perspective. They are more related in coding, code, more of a code related and all those things. And tester test based on the user perspective, on functionality of an application, how this thing is working, is it moving to the next page, is this button clickable, and all those things. All those things are not verified by developer. Developer doesn't do that. Okay, so all those things are never done by the developer. Okay, so that's the reason you cannot eliminate testers here. Okay, then we have, okay, let's go to, so that's a developer, a product owner, and scrum master. Let's go to the next. You have product backlog. So what is product backlog? It's a high set of requirements. Okay, I would say very high level requirements. This can be okay. So this product backlog, can be as it can be as complex as a one-line statement in Excel sheet. Okay, so they just put in one-line statement, and this is non-technical. Okay, it's a non-technical. This business, the product owner comes up with some, says that, okay, for example, GM online, right? They put in Excel sheet. That's a product backlog. That means it's a requirement. Now it's a non-technical. That means as a developer, as a tester, you don't know what to do, right? You don't know what Java application is being there, what HTML is being using there, what is there to test, what is not. You don't know. It's just one-line statement, GM online, but it's a product backlog. Okay, so that's called a product backlog. That means a very high set of requirements. Okay. So it can consist of features, bug fixes, non-functional requirements. But if it goes more into in detail, then it could make sense. But otherwise, as a product backlog, if you are given a product backlog sheet and you're not able to understand what is going on, because it's just non-technical information. Okay, so that's product backlog. And now you have sprint backlog. Now, look, before going to the sprint backlog, let's understand what is sprint. Sprint is a time boxed unit. Okay, it's a time boxed unit. Sprint means it's time. That means it can be 2 weeks. Okay, let's say 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Normally, we will take 1 month. That's 4 weeks. Okay, for the ease of understanding, one sprint, 1 month. Two sprint, 2 months. Okay, don't have to be 4 weeks, but for ease of understanding, we'll take as 4 weeks. So sprint backlog means sprint, okay, 4 weeks, and backlog is whatever the prioritized work. Okay, what is supposed to go into this sprint is called sprint backlog. Okay, so it's more it's little bit gets into a little more technical, but not completely technical to understand what's going on. Still, it goes into technical. Okay, that's called the sprint backlog. Okay. So here, if you see here, so any questions in this two, like product backlog and sprint backlog? Okay, so here they don't have the scrum master. There's a scrum master. There's a product owner. Okay, the two are different. Different terms that we'll be using. Product owner is business analyst, and scrum master is project manager. Okay. Not your boss. Okay, your manager is completely different from project manager. Nothing to do with your manager. Okay, manager doesn't come into this picture here. Okay. Okay, so we'll go to the sprint backlog once. We go. Once we complete this terminology, we'll see this chart. How does this agile works. We'll go through this. Let's finish this. Then you have charts. Okay, burn down chart. Remember sprint burn down chart. We've seen this rally. Remember. Okay, let's pretty quick check here. So this is a burn down chart. Okay, this rally does it for you once all the user stories are defined and once it's good. Once you complete your test cases, once this already charts, this chart is prepared by rally for you. So you are not doing any physical work to design this chart. Okay, if somebody says, how do you, somebody might ask you, right? So your boss might ask you, okay, why don't you draw burn down chart? Now that's not really a reasonable question, right? It's not a reasonable question to ask. Draw burn down chart. Okay. First thing you need to remember is charts are not done by testers or QA or lead. Charts are done by the Scrum Master. Okay. It's Scrum Master's responsibility to create these charts. Okay. Second thing, you're not going to draw anything or you're doing. This is automatically generated for you in Rally. Okay, they might not use the Rally tool, they might use a different tool, that's a different story. But or they might have some software or something which can be generated for you based on your user stories. Your user stories and your test cases, in your defects, this is plotted automatically. Okay. So you're not manually going, writing there day 1, day 2, day 3. You're not doing anything sort of. Okay. This is all automatically generated for you. Okay. I've shown you already, right? Let's quickly pretty much check here just be quick. This is actually in the report section. If you guys have seen this, go to the report section. Okay, you see this various charts here. So there, that will be your. Here you see the story burn down chart. You have story burn up chart, throughput. Okay, so all of these charts are prepared here. Even if you are not able to see that, that's okay. You can create your own chart here. Go ahead and click on add new, and you can create your custom charts. Okay, based on like how you want to do. So this is a sample of sprint burn down chart. Okay, if somebody asks you this question, you need to say this. Okay, so first thing, charts are not designed by the QA, not designed by the lead. It's a responsibility of a scrum master to take care of this. Okay, the second thing is you're not going to draw anything or something. It's automatically generated based on the user story. What are the user stories you have, based on the test cases, what kind of test cases, and it's end of the sprint. Normally it's end of the sprint. Again, what's the end of the sprint? That means once 1 month is over, you create this chart. Okay, so that's it about this. And you have various more terms. You can go ahead and look into it. Okay, so that's about this. Any questions so far? So this is about product backlog and sprint backlog and burn down charts. Not just burn down charts. There are a lot of charts. This is just an example. Okay, so this is also burn off chart too. Okay, and how is this plotted? This is plotted, in the x-axis it's taken as iteration, and the y-axis is taken as the story points. Okay, and this is plotted based on that. Okay, so let's quickly check here how what's our agile. So this is the view of an agile. So how does this agile work? So whenever you ask a question, how does this agile work? So this is how you should represent this, right? So there's a product backlog. Okay, there's a product backlog and there's a sprint backlog. Product backlog, when I told you, right, it is a very high set of very high level requirement, and it is non-technical. You cannot understand by looking at this. Let's say we just as we went, right, it's geomodeling. It can be that that high level in the product backlog. So that means they have not decided which page you have to navigate. They have not decided how many pages it requires. What are the buttons you need. What are the images you need. You know nothing at this point of time. Okay, at this point of time with the product backlog, you know nothing. But you do know that you have this. That that's a project and that's called GMO Online, and this is supposed to be get this by end of the month. Okay, you do know that, but you don't know nothing here. What kind of buttons you'll be testing? What is what's actually the technical requirement? You know nothing here. Okay, once this is prioritized, again it's a split down. Okay, let's say product backlog is each one is split into four. They're not really four, but just for the use of convenience, we'll just take it as four. That means each one block four. So 4 for the 16. So 16 total 16. So it will take this whole product to go into the production in 16 months. Okay. Okay, let's stop there. Here one block. Here you see this one product backlog is more categorized into sprint backlog. Sprint backlog means 1 month. How much you're taking to complete the work. Now this is a little more detailed. Okay, it contains better information than product backlog, and it says like, okay, there are like GM Online. We know now GM Online. Now how does this? Okay, it has like four. It has to go into 4 releases: first release, second release, third release, and fourth release. And each one has its own. It's like 1 page. Each has going to 1 page. So today, for example, it's going. This page is going to 1 release. Next page is going to the next release. Okay. And the next page is kind of this one, online catalog page, then billing information, and all this will be going next release. So that's all is being decided here in the sprint backlog. Okay. Now we have one more here. It's not shown here. It's called user stories. That's what we were working on. Remember here, this user stories is actually the technical information where you will be working on this. Okay. So that is that is a thing which you will be working on, not this sprint backlog, neither product backlog. Okay. So once you go there, and once this again, each sprint backlog is divided into user stories. Okay, that's each sprint backlog is divided into user stories, and this takes 30 days. Okay, once 30 days, it goes into production. Okay, so this is all about this agile. So this is all about this agile. Okay. Does it make sense? Any questions so far? Okay, So if no questions, so we'll just move to the next topic. So here you have, you see here you have the product owner, you have this product owner, then you have development team, okay, then you have scrum master, okay. And so you see this, there's a development team, but there's no testers team. So they want to try to eliminate this testing process, but it's really not possible completely to eliminate testers. As I told you an example, right? Your boss might say that too for you, okay? They might say, no, we don't need any testers, okay? We don't go once. Why don't developer do the testers? Okay, they will just outrightly say this. Okay, so you need to convince them that it's really not always a good idea to remove a testers, because as you know, right, developer has his own way of testing and testers have their own way of testing. Okay, so this is the job and responsibilities of product owner. Okay, what is a product owner? It takes the requirements. Okay, you know this product owner, right? It takes the requirements, puts the documents and uploads and all this. Okay, so it's done by the product owner. Scrum master. Okay, Scrum master is actually here is very important person here. Scrum master. The reason you have this guy. So you know what? So let me give you one example, real-time example. People might not know. Okay, people don't know technically. Okay, so when you go into a project, they don't know their own responsibilities. Okay, so what happened, right? One of my project, what happened, like developers won't respond to your issues, right? So just you have to understand this, that developers won't always respond. If you're lucky, that's good. If you're lucky, developers, you came up with issue. Okay, you opened a defect, right? Just like this here, you open defect, right? You open defect, and developers don't care it, right? You need to follow with them. And you need to check with them, hey, what, this is a defect. They will tell you, no, I don't have time for this. I'm working on different project. Please go away. Okay, so that's what they're telling to you. Okay, does it make sense? So, your defect will not be resolved. That's what I mean to say. They will not look into it because they're right. They have their own work and they are working on TP4 projects. They might work on production issues and all, so on and so forth. But now, if your defect is not fixed at that point of time, that particular period of time, then you are the one who will be questioned, not developers. Okay, it's not. Now, nobody knows that, right? So you go to developer says that I don't have time for your defects. Do whatever you want. Okay, just ignore your issues. Now, that's fine. That's they don't have time. So what you need to do is you need to approach to the Scrum Master. Okay, now that's what I have done. Right? I have what I have done is, like, I have forwarded the issue. Now developer says, no, I don't have time for this. That's fine. I escalated the issue to the Scrum Master, but what my boss told me, here, why did you where did you get the defect to Scrum Master? No, it's so what I told them, like, based on my experience, Scrum Master responsibility is to remove any impediments from the developers and testers. It is a bridge. Scrum Master is a bridge between developers and testers. You know what? Look at this. Can you see this point? So this is a job of a Scrum Master. Scrum team to avoid and remove impediments to process, whether internal or external. Okay, normally the issues whichever you give to the developers is not going to solve. You need to approach the Scrum Master, right? Does it make sense? So here it is written. So if your boss says that same to you, you need to educate your boss, saying that, hey, look at this. It's based on my experience, it's a job of a Scrum Master, to remove any impediments, any issues. Okay, because now Scrum Master will be following with them, saying that, okay, this is the priority issue. So we don't know what the priority, right? Now Scrum Master explains them, say this is the priority, and we need to get fix this. So no matter what you're doing, it's not really it's okay, but this is also supposed to go into the production. So we need to get fixed. So that's how, Scrum Master comes into the picture. Okay, does it make sense? So if your boss says, why did you escalate this to the Scrum Master? What it has to do with the Scrum Master? Okay, then you need to, you can send this URL to them, say, hey, look at this. It's the job of, it's a responsibility. Okay, those guys don't know what the responsibility is. That's true. They are working from 10 years, 10 years, 15 years, but they don't know what the responsibility of Scrum Master, they don't know what their duties are. So you need to tell them that this is your job. Okay, so that's what you need to tell. If they don't agree with you, why don't you, share this URL? Hey, why don't you look at this? Not this URL, this is Wikipedia, and it might be something wrong or something. Why don't you give some slides? Why don't you, there's a lot of information on the agile process. It's not here just showing up, but it's actually the responsibility of Scrum Master as an agile. Okay. So that's what it is. Let's go to the next one. So here, let's go to the team meetings. Okay, let's go to the meetings here. So here you will be attending a lot of meetings. Okay, Agile is, Agile has a lot of meetings. You will be from the start of sprint to end of sprint. You will be, having a lot of, you'll be going to a lot of meetings here. So let's see here. There's something called sprint planning session. Okay, this is sprint planning. So this sprint is, you want to make sure in the sprint what do you actually do here. So here what you do is, how many user stories are going into the sprint, what are the user stories that should be developed and tested, and what is the priority user story that it has to go only in this sprint, because there are a lot of sprints, 2-3 sprints, and what is the really priority user stories that has to go in this sprint. All this is decided in sprint planning session. Okay, here everyone is invited except the manager, except manager or your boss, unless your boss is really technical. Normally development guys, their boss is really technical on this, so they might come into the sprint planning. But otherwise, your boss is not really not invited here. Everyone except product owner, Scrum Master. Scrum Master organizes this. Okay, who organizes the sprint planning session? Scrum Master organizes this sprint planning, and a lot of people, product owner is also supposed to be there. Okay, what's this user story? What is this all about? How much QA part is left? How much ETL part is left? How much data analysis part is left? And how it should be tested? How it should be going to production? All this will be discussed in sprint planning session. Okay, so this at least lasts for 3 to 4 hours. Okay, 3 to 6 hours or 4 hours, and they'll make sure they'll use your lunch time, so be already prepared for that. Okay, so they'll make sure they'll start about around 10 a.m. okay, and make sure that it goes to 2 p.m. Okay, so that's about the sprint planning. So there is one more call that's not here, actually, sprint grooming session. So there's also sprint grooming, in which you actually, it's, if you miss, if you miss some parts and if you don't have really some time, you will go ahead with sprint grooming session. It's similar to planning session. If you really want, something which is priorities have changed. Let's say the priorities of the user stories have changed. Say, no, this is the priority issue. This is not in the second sprint. It has to go in the first sprint. Then, then you have this sprint grooming session. It's similar to sprint planning. Okay. And this is the start of the sprint. Okay. So as I told you, sprint is time box. Let's say 4 weeks. That's 1 month. And every month you'll be having this sprint planning. Okay. Every month, kind of like January, February, March. So every month or first week or second week, mostly first week, if you're having like 4 week sprint, then you'll be having the sprint planning, right? So every month. Okay, so next you have a daily scrum meeting. So daily Scrum is it's daily, okay, and it takes like 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. It doesn't take more than 15 to 20 minutes, and it's mostly the time is 9 a.m. 9 to 9:15. Okay, so that's the daily Scrum. And what do you discuss in this? So what do you discuss in daily Scrum? So what you discuss is what have you done today? Okay, what have you done yesterday? What are you going to do tomorrow? What are the impediments that's stopping you to do the work? These four important things you will be discussing in daily Scrum. What have you done yesterday? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? And what are the impediments that's stopping you to do your work? So impediments means it's an issue. It can be any issue. It can be coordination issue. It can be any your bug or QA defect or anything. It's called impediment. It's something blocking your work. Okay, to do it's called impediment. Okay, so does it make sense? So this is actually 15 to 20 minutes. So if you look here, look at this. So here you have this, right? So this is how the Scrum meeting works. Okay, this project manager, the Scrum master. There's sometimes there's a product owner too here, and the remaining are developers and testers. Okay, so that's a daily Scrum meeting. Any questions so far in this too? Okay, so let's move to the next one. So there is one more called sprint retrospective and review meeting. Okay, so there is sprint review and retrospective. So this is a meeting at the end of the sprint. Okay, and let's say the sprint is done. Next month. You have started a new sprint, but you want to review it, right? Review and retrospective. That's called sprint review and retrospective meeting. And what you discuss here, you will be talking about what went good, what didn't go good, and how can we improve which didn't go good. Okay, these three important things we'll be discussing in sprint review and retrospective. And this again, all these meetings are organized by Scrum Master. It's a Scrum Master's responsibility to organize all this meeting. Okay, so in this you'll be discussing in this sprint review. Okay. Any questions so far? So here, if let's go to a little bit traditional way. So this is how, let's say if you're working on, okay, so if you're working as Scrum Master, I'm sorry, if you're going in a meeting, you have this daily meeting, right? Scrum, let's see here, daily Scrum meeting. Okay, you have this daily Scrum meeting, and you stand up meeting. That's also called a stand up meeting actually. So this is how it'll be. This would be how it looks like. But in a traditional way, you might use this board. Okay, the same thing, daily Scrum meeting. You'll be using this board. Okay, now this board has a lot of things here. Okay, there's a user stories on the left side, and this to do. Okay, and in progress testing. Okay, and the sprint ends. Okay, so this is traditional way of doing. Okay, so now you need to print out each and every paper here. You see this paper. You need to put a lot of sticky notes, and do all those things. And again, these are taken care by Scrum Master and all those developer teams. But thing is, it's not really an efficient way of doing this. Okay, because you'll be using a lot of resources which is really not required. Okay, so but still we'll talk about this, if how the company's approach. So it's based on the company's approach. Okay, it's not like we want this or we don't want it. It's like company's approach, how they want to do. This is the traditional way. So let's say you are in this meeting, in the Scrum meeting, and you picked up some user stories. Let's say you picked up some user stories. You said now, yeah, I want to do this 3 user stories and 4 user stories. Now, you are a QA tester. You don't start your work. First development should complete, then only you can start your work, right? So now all the whatever the developments should be picked up by the development team. Okay, so whatever it should be first, it is picked up by the developer team. And if there is any dependent issue, okay, developer has to know, no, this user story has to go first, then only you can start another user story, or else you cannot do this. Okay, there might be some dependent issue that should be conveyed by the developer. Okay, you see the sticky notes here, orange color, blue color, pink color. These sticky notes, okay, are the information written. Okay, what have you done today? And let's say each user stories consist of 5 days. Okay, not really. I mean, it can be more or less 5 days. So let's say these all are discussed with the sprint planning. Okay, 5 days means 3 days for development, 2 days for testing. Okay, that's what it means by 5 days. It's it's both. Okay, it's both development and testing. So once they are done, that means 3 days for development, and developer writes the 3. Next day when it comes, okay, I have done some work, they strike the 3 and put 2 there. The next day again strike the 2 and put it 1. So that's how you change this numbering system, and not just 1 or 2. You'll be picking up more than 1, right? You'll be picking 5 one day or something like that. So that's how you can complete this. Let's say developer moves this user story, the sticky notes. Okay, the sticky notes are the work, like what have you done and what's the time limit on this. And they move from to do to in progress. Now all this is done first by the development team. And then once it's done in the progress and is done, okay, the developer might have their own testing, they have completed the unit testing. Once it is done, they put this sticky note here now. After that, the tester's job starts. Now again, you have 2 days. Today you do, start testing for this. Strike that numbering system 1. You might have small number here written in sticky note system. Okay, not here in invest sticky notes. And the strike off, put the number 1, remove. Once it's done, you move this whole story to here. The whole sticky note. This is a traditional way of doing this. Okay, now we don't really require this because we are out of this traditional. We use rally here, right? Now this this is really good thing because you see this, the state. So that's what I was trying to explain to you guys, right? The sticky note stuff from, see here, from to do to in progress testing. These guys have made it very simple here, making from D, P, C, A. Okay, that means D for defined, P for in progress, C is completed, A is accepted. Okay, so instead of moving the sticky notes from one place to another, you can move your user story right from in the rally here and change the state. See the state, scheduled state. Okay, so that's how you can do. So that's more convenient to do than traditional way of doing. Okay, so if you want, if you want to do this, you can do this in your test cases. There's nothing for test cases, but yeah, there's nothing like that for test cases. That's the reason you have task, right? Remember task? Let me quickly check if my task is there. Okay, good. Now if that's the reason, right? You have this task for. Now you have this defined, planned, completed. So that helps, and this is 10. So here, this is a time limit. But in traditional way of doing, you need to use a lot of things here. Okay, this is not so convenient of doing this. Okay, I know some people may not understand what I've told, but you might have understood this better. We are just changing the state from defined to progress and progress to completed, and even if it is not completed, we are changing here time. Okay, we have took 10 hours, we completed today 5 hours and putting again back to 5 hours. Okay, that's what we are doing here. Okay, and here too, this is what we are doing, seen here too, but this is the traditional way of doing, and this requires a lot of resources. Now after this completed, you need to design this chart, big you need that special kind of printer there to print the big charts and stick onto your walls. Okay, they put stick on the walls and saying that, okay, this is a burn down chart. This is this is all those things, and it requires a lot of resources. It requires a lot of you need to spend more money on this um, for you. And again, it's not the efficient way of doing the work, right? It's not efficient. Why? Because you're utilizing too many resources, and you want to put it there, but someone guy will be visiting the audit guy or CFO guy saying that, hey, what's going on, what's up with your project and how it's going. But all this we don't have to do anymore. Why? Because all this is done in Rally itself. You see this? This. Okay, this is good. It has designed a story burn down chart for you. Okay, so this is all is plotted for you. So that's the reason it's a better use of you need to always use efficient utilization of resources, right? So that's what you have to do in Agile. Okay, but it's not always the case. You might use but again, somebody told, right, somebody in the previous class said, like, why we have to come all together, right? You need to in the scrum, you need to come all together. Look at this, everyone here is here, but it's really not possible to come all together at once, because there's the offshore team, there's an onshore team, there's some other guy, so here it's not really that convenient to come all together here. So sometimes you use the phone call, okay, phone call meeting, and those kind of things work. Okay, so that's how some things work. Any questions so far? So this is about Scrum. Okay, this is I discussed about the Scrum, and okay, this is this is also part of an Agile. Okay, Scrum isn't part of Agile. Kanban is also part of Agile. So you'll not be doing everything in one. This is one process. This is one process which your company may follow. Okay, but it's not necessary all the process will be followed by the company. It's not really required, but you may be in the Scrum, you might be in Kanban, you can be in extreme programming, you can be RAD, rapid application development, you can be any other process. Not the Scrum is more famous, and most of people use the Scrum. We also have Kanban. Okay, let's what we talk about this Kanban actually in the last class. So let's quickly check what's this Kanban is all about. If you have this Team Foundation server, so there's something called Team Foundation server from Microsoft, right? So that is also an test management tool, but that's from Microsoft. Okay. So let's see if I have access to Team Foundation server, and let's see if I can show you Kanban process too. Okay, good. So all these similar meetings will be already there. Okay. Okay. But here the best part of Kanban is you don't have to be. Everyone don't have to be at that place and every time, right? If you see here, there's a drawback in Scrum. If you look at this, a lot of people are involving in everything, every sprint retrospective, daily Scrum, a lot of meetings, and a lot of people are involving. But the best part here is in Kanban, you know don't have to be always at that time. Okay, so let's see how does this work. No, we'll talk about this. We will work on this in the last class, but really have we'll check how this Kanban process works. So hopefully, I was trying to give the access to TFS2, Team Foundation Server, but this Microsoft have that that they're not allowing to give multiple access. But yeah, if anyone is interested in TFS, we can figure it out how to work for you. So I can give you. I mean, we can set up an environment for you, and you can work in that if you are really interested in TFS. Okay. So let's quickly check. Okay, so this is my project, and I'll go to the project pretty quick. So this server is a little bit slow. Okay, so here we have one user. So, okay, so let's see here. Okay, go to here backlog. So this is also designed based on agile perspective. Okay, all these tools are designed in the agile perspective. Okay, let's go to the board pretty quick. So this is a backlog. When you have this backlog. Okay, great. Now you have this, so this is what I was trying to say. This is a board kind of, right? You see here, you see this board, bunch of user stories. I have only one, okay? I can create a number of, not, here we have limited 5, I guess. So here we can create more user stories, okay? This is a user story, okay, with a new, and this is an active, result, and closed column, right? This 4 columns. Now, once let's say I'm start to working on this, I'm started to work on this user story, and I just want to move this user story. So instead of using sticky note, I'll just drag this here, right here. Now this is an active. Okay. Now there's all the graphs gets updated here, and all the graphs, whatever by the Microsoft they have, it gets designed automatically once this user story is moved, right? And now, once my defect, let's say this is a defect or user story or whatever, it's been resolved or it's done, right? I'll again drag this guy in and put the sticky note here. And that's done. It's resolved. Now all the graphs will be updated. And once it's done, this sprint is done, and you move this here, right here. Okay, so this is called Kanban process. Okay, this is more simpler version of Scrum. Okay, more simpler version of Scrum, because you don't have to be, everyone should not be here. They can move their own user stories here and there and see, what's their is working on, because they have their own sign-in ID, all those things, they have their own process. So that's a simpler version of Scrum, to use this process. Okay. But in Scrum, you have to have a lot of meetings and a lot of people have to gather. Here, you don't have to be, that complicated. Meetings will be there. Okay, that's not, you will be also having the daily call or maybe, but you don't have to be like at that point of time. You don't have to be there. Okay, it's not physically present. You don't have to physically present. Okay, we can handle with the phone call. But in Scrum, they are making more into physical. Right, you need to be physically present. But here it's not really not required. Just move here is a story from here to here. That's it, done. Okay, so this is more about Kanban process. So Kanban is simple. Okay, all these features, whatever related to Scrum, may be applicable to this Kanban, but here movement of the user story is simple. Okay, does it make sense? So here I have backlog item, and here you can see, you know, what you're testing here, what are the bugs here. Okay, you can view all this here. Any questions so far? So we'll discuss about this. Okay, we'll discuss about this TFS. Okay, we will have this view on this. Okay, um, if maybe I may not able to give you access to TFS, but um, we can work on this. If you're really interested, so send me an email. We can have a call. Okay, and we can see how I can schedule a TFS for you. Okay, based on your email ID, because you need to have your email ID from Outlook.com, and we can schedule this, and we can create a project, and you can work on that if you're really interested. Okay, so this is TFS. This is similar to Rally, what you have worked. Okay, but for you, user story may not be so convenient that you have worked in Rally, because here it's easy. You might have got used to it. Okay, but here it's little different here. But the way it's work is little different. Here in Rally, you can use either Scrum or Kanban or any other process. Okay, here too in TFS also you can use that, but it's more applicable to Kanban, and Rally is more applicable to Scrum. But you can use any other of them. I mean, you can use any test management tool to any. I mean, you can use it in Agile, you can use it in Waterfall. But thing is, it is more convenient to use that particular, particular methodology into that. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so that's about Agile. Okay, let's some people. So you have this homework due tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, Monday. Okay, some people are doing this. Yeah, some people have started to do this. Okay, good. Okay, you'll get used to it. Okay, and let's see here results. Yeah, just keep trying. Okay, so that you'll have some idea on this. Okay, so there's no document. See, if the test case is successfully passed, you need to put attachment, right? If you don't have attachment, I mean, it's up to you. It's not. It's really optional. But thing is, when you get caught, you need to know how to explain that. Okay, you cannot. So let's say if your boss asks, okay, where is the attachment for this? They might not even ask. They might say, okay, how would I know that you have completed this case? You are saying that you have completed. How would I know? So you need to show some valid evidence, right? So that's the reason I tell you to attach the screenshots. It's really not required. It's completely optional, but okay. But you need to show your boss saying that. Okay. Judgment. Right. Okay. So attachment you have to include here in the execution part. If you include somewhere else, nobody will be knowing that, right? Okay, so it's good. Um, you need to, okay, that's good. Some people have started doing this. Okay, also open some defects. You'll be knowing this. Okay, so that's all about agile. Okay, anyone has any questions in the any questions in agile? So let me check if there's actually one more document. So I'll be giving you homework on agile. Okay. This it's more of a theoretical point. I mean, you don't have to do anything. You need to just go ahead and refer once what I have told you. Okay. So let's see here if you have any. So you can go ahead and refer this document. Okay. So this is what I told you, right? So you use sticky notes. Okay. You use this board. You have this board, and you move these sticky notes from one place to another. But the more convenient way of doing is in Rally, right? You don't need any more the boards. Okay. You just use this, and all this is made easy for you. No more this. This is a traditional way of doing. Okay, this is Kanban board. There's two the Kanban is different, so I've also explained you Kanban in TFS. Okay, this is how you can move your board. You have this board, right? This is actually similar thing, but it's made online for you. Okay, here you can move your instead of doing this physically, you do this in online. Okay, that's the only difference. And okay, so if no one has any questions, can we close this class for today? Tomorrow, tomorrow we'll go through this Jira. Okay, this is also a test management tool. Okay, and we'll talk about this. And you'll be also having access to Jira. Also, you can work on this and get some hands-on experience on Jira too. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys.